Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Girls Run These Worlds. This is episode 3 of Freezerburnt. We are a New Generation limited series where every single one of our heroes has somewhere in their backstory been fridged, which, if you don't know, it's that old comic book trope where a character, usually female or of other marginalized identity, ends up injured, depowered, or otherwise sidelined in order to promote somebody else's character development. But over the course of this series, we're going to be following these heroes as they try to take back their stories in their own right. Let's see if they can do it. Last time, our heroes, the Defrigerators, uncovered something very strange that seems to have kind of flown under the radar of the rest of Halcyon City. Over the past short while, there's been a number of Halcyon City's villains, yes, just the villains, who have been found comatose or have even died under mysterious circumstances. Also, in other news, Witch unleashed her powers and feels very weird about it. Stacy thinks Witch is mad at her. Raina's got a mysterious artifact wrapped around her wrist. and Lee's just trying to make it through the day. So, let's what's going on? We'll find out together. I am Allie. I'm your GM running us through this amazing system brought to us by Magpie Games. And I'm thrilled to introduce you to the cast. Anita, why don't you start off by introducing yourself and your character, and also tell us something that you love from last time or can't wait to tackle this time around.
Anita, that's me. Hey, everybody. Anita is here. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns. Today I'll be playing Stacy Jane, who uses she, her pronouns. Stacy Jane's hero name is Coldcock, and Stacy is the Bull Playbook. And something that I really liked from last session, it was so long ago, but you don't know that on YouTube land. Um, it Mm, that was the episode that Stacy really had a very big hero moment,
Mm.
right? It was like her first time, oh, somebody needs to be saved. I'm jumping in to save them. And that felt nice. I like that. I like it when heroes save people. That's me, your girl, Anita. And now I'm going to toss it over to the one and the only Mateo. Please take it away.
Hello, I'm Mateo, she, her. I play Witch, also she, her. Um, and last time I was real hype about all the social drama going on, and I'm excited to play through that social drama, get to be an awkward teenager again. Um, yeah, but that's me. I'm gonna pass it over to Alice.
Hey guys, my name's Alice, she, they pronouns. I play Lee Daring, they, them pronouns. Um, Last time, well, outside of all the drama that happens to be occurring to the rest of the team, I was most excited and continue to be most excited about our super plot relevant, most important NPC, Josh.
Of course.
He's going to be invaluable, I can tell you that.
Yeah, go Falcons.
Yes. But I will pass it over to our dear Diana.
Hello, everybody. I'm Diana Moon first. I go by she, her pronouns, and I am playing Morena de la Caballera, or better known as Caída Reina, the Doomed playbook. They use she, they pronouns, and I liked the whole like campus shenanigans that went on because it was interesting to see. And before, Rena never was interested in college, like ugh, but like, hey, they have some shenanigans going on there. Maybe it will help doomed. Who knows? I'm just looking forward today to get hurt. In not the physical way though. We'll see. We'll see what our lovely GM has for us today.
Yeah, let's see. Let's jump right in. And when I say let's jump right in, I mean for this episode, we're actually moving a few days ahead of time from the day where you discovered all of those mysterious deaths and injuries at Haltech. Our episode is going to open with one page for each of you, kind of showing what you've been up to since you sort of fleed in a panic a few days ago. And I'm gonna say that why don't we start with seeing what Lee's been up to? What's Lee been doing for the past 3-4 days?
Past 3 or 4 days. First off, I would say after that day, that will live in infamy of having to run away from college. Lee's uncle Leif showed up, not only to drop off rent, hush money, whatever we're officially calling it, but also to remind them that they are not supposed to be in the public as any sort of anything. And Carrion is drawing attention. Not necessarily putting fear into them, but a heavy dose of caution, and please do not do this. Do not risk yourself and your situation here anymore than you already
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, love that. And how do we see Lee responding to this unexpected visit from Uncle Leif? Or maybe, you know, they're always, I guess, semi-expected, but what's Lee's reaction to this sort of keep it under wraps this time?
They're definitely a little frustrated because, to be fair, they are trying to like not draw a whole bunch of attention to themselves. Like the whole defrigerators thing, they kind of fell into a little bit. And they really try and keep their presence in that to a minimum, especially considering at least one person on the team doesn't bother with masks, um and they're frustrated. They're frustrated because they don't need this reminder, this semi regular reminder that there is an issue with them, a reminder that they exist in some form to their family. God, they're 17.
Yeah.
So after that, like their plan was probably to like stay inside, do some more research onto this whole thing because it's really bothering them. What they do instead is they don their costume and ow, sorry, cat, right across exposed skin. But they don their costume and go out into the city looking for the crimes and issues that superheroes aren't dealing with, like the random muggings, the younger girls that are afraid walking home by themselves, the stuff that they can handle, the stuff that's not going to be picked up by the news. You know,
Yeah.
something like the guys that they can hit a few times and not feel bad about.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So we've got a couple panels where it's like Uncle Leif showing up, you know, giving a lecture, and then the next couple of panels after having been immediately told, like, hey, kid, just maybe, you know, lie low. Then the next panel is immediately putting on costume, going out and doing super shit. But the good kind of super shit, the super shit that doesn't always make it into the headlines. Wonderful. All right. So that's what Carrion's been up to. Next, let's check in with Stacey Jane. What do these panels look like across the past 3-4 days?
So over the past 3-4 days, she's felt like she really let the team down. She felt like the team really isn't like with her at this moment and is a little afraid of like what's gonna happen the next time I see them. So has been like soft ghosting them a little bit, hasn't been like around the meeting like area as much as she usually is, hasn't been like responding to texts because she destroyed her phone. So that's the reason. And totally that's the reason. But she there's definitely like a couple of panels of like her dad's being very concerned. Because the news is saying that like she is like a radical like freedom fighter, which gets like a lot of dangerous attention from powerful people. And Stacey already has had like a bunch of dangerous attention from powerful people in her past, and her parents are worried. Um, so she's actually been like grateful for a couple days of just like there's nothing really super stuff going on out in the world, at least for her to do with the
Yeah.
team. But I feel like in at some point in these 3 or 4 days, she felt like the thing that Reina said, like, sort of stuck with her. Just that, like, hey, are you here to clean up the mess that you made? Specifically, when the other heroes came through to the planetarium. And she's like, yeah, I made a big mess in that planetarium. And she's gonna go over there and see if the construction crew needs any help cleaning up.
That's
And
great.
and that's basically what she does. I don't know if that is enough to like make a sacrifice to assuage her guilt and unmark that condition. But that is mechanically what I'm hoping for. As
I like
we
that.
go.
Yeah. I think that counts. I mean, because I feel like what it looks like is we've got a couple panels of, maybe Stacy getting a little bit of a lecture from her dad's just about like, hey, what is this on the TV right now? Like, you need to, you died once. Like, come on, be careful out there. But and then maybe Stacy just kind of not really like is sort of like half listening but not super engaged, and then the last couple of panels is Stacy finally kind of getting up and going to do something, and that is like participating in the cleanup efforts at the planetarium, which makes a lot of sense. I do think when you get to the planetarium, I think as part of that panel, we could see that, it's like mostly put back together, but there's definitely a little bit of like added security around there. Like maybe there's a panel where Anita's walking by the room that the meteorite was in, and that's just like totally, there's a guard in front of it just completely blocking it off from anybody. But great. So that's what Stacy's been up to. Let's check in with Reina next. What's Kaida Reina been up to? What's going on with them?
Well, after getting this nice little bangle on their arm
Love
that they
it, love it.
cannot take off, they're like, all right, we got nothing else to do right now. I'm going back to the Tarnished, which is formerly known as Silverside. It's a neighborhood in Halcyon City, where they grew up and everything. And it's just like having that brief moment of knowing that the doctors are back around, and just like, no, I don't want that future to happen. So just going to like hang out with family, hang out with some of their old um wannabe supervillain buddies kind of things, like, hey, what's up, enjoying the ribbing of like, oh, you're a goody two shoes now. It's like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Just trying to be in a little bit of a bubble of like having these happy memories before like the whole doom thing comes back crashing down all around them, essentially.
That's great. Yeah. So we've got like in contrast to the other pages we've had before, which were kind of solitary, maybe helping people, but like very much doing it on your own. Reina's like kind of going back into a sense of community, surrounded by people. But maybe we do get that, like in the last panel, Reina's looking down at the bracelet, just kind of like we could see sort of a concerned expression on their face of just like, well, it's still coming, whatever it is.
That, and they also have on their phone, because they're just that type, the countdown to when they're supposed to meet Adon.
Nice. Yeah. Great. Yeah. So you've got, two things that you're kind of like, you're looking at your wrist, you're looking at your phone, like you've got this heavy community thing going on, but there's still this closing in on all sides. Wonderful. Great. Let's have Witch take it home. What has Alice been up to over the past couple of days?
Probably two things. One is she's been trying to see if anyone else is like tailing or looking for Stacy, or if anyone else still has like a hit out on Stacy at all. And two is just like preparing for this next mission, like figuring out intel and stuff. And it's just kind of like a spiral, like overworked, like doing too much kind of like tired, been up too long kind of
Yeah.
prep.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think like we see like the dark circles under Alice's eyes just like getting more and more pronounced over each panel as she continues to not get enough sleep. But yeah, I'll say I'll give you some tidbits of information that you'll get in doing this research. One, you have you can't find any other information about Stacy actively being tailed, but I definitely think one of the panels has like a lot of printouts and research and things like that of just how defrigerators have kind of been sort of moving up in the public eye just because of all of these like high profile things that have been going on. I think Lupe Schaefer Santos, after news of what happened at the college came out, was like, the defrigerators take a stand against the institutions of academia, and just like so there's lots of little things, and it's still you're still at the point where it's mostly just kind of like it's these underground sort of like more like community minded journalists who are picking things up, but more of them are and like Lupe's definitely they're definitely getting more views than they ever did before. So that's one thing you realize, like you can't find anything specifically about Stacy, but that it's like no, people know who we are, they know what's going on more and more every day. And also, to kind of segue into our next thing, I think the next panel, showing all of your research both into this and into the mission that you're undertaking in general to go to Myopius's lair. Alice is kind of exhausted, has been doing a lot, but in this next panel, you get a text message. And the message says, Myopius's lair clear tonight. HCPD no longer patrolling. Also, I'm a whole adult and I don't actually work for you, so consider this a one-time favor. And then it just says McKay. And this is the message you've been sort of waiting for in terms of a sign that the coast is clear.
Y'all, I'm starting to think McKay is 3 kids in a trench coat. He says he's an adult way too much to be an actual adult.
No confident adult man needs to say it that much.
No.
Alice, do you send out any sort of reply to McKay upon getting this message?
Thanks, and I know you'll probably still be doing favors later if I ask anyway.
You get like a thumbs down react to the last message. But with that, let's cut to the next panel, which it's a glimpse of kind of Halcyon City at nighttime, but an area we haven't been at before. You all have gathered, I imagine you're still, a little bit away from it, but we can see that the 4 of you have kind of grouped together, and that in the background is a building that is undoubtedly the former lair of one of Halcyon City's erstwhile greatest villains, Myopius. This building is kind of like set on a dock that is sort of, it's like a warehouse like building that takes up the entirety of a dock. It's a massive sort of hacked together structure of iron and glass. Its most notable feature being like a 5-story lighthouse that Myopius constructed sort of at the end of the dock, which is still in automatic operation. So in the next couple of panels, we can see that the like occulting green light occasionally bathes the whole scene in a wash of lime green. You all, you're going into a situation. You don't necessarily know if it's a battle against a dangerous foe, but you're definitely going into some sort of mission as a team. So let's talk about our team pool and add some stuff to it, according to how you all are feeling. So you've obviously grouped together. Do you all feel like you have an idea of who, might be the leader of this mission as you've been talking about it?
I mean, if Witch is the one bringing all of this to us, I think that's the natural. She's probably taking charge, or at least taking point.
Makes sense. Which, do you have influence over every teammate?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, great. Awesome. So we're gonna add a team to the pool for that. Now let's see what's everyone's purpose in this fight, and I'll just go one by one and ask. Let's start with you. Let's start with you, Witch. What do you think? What's your purpose going into this mission?
I think this is more of a stealthy get intel mission. So like we're trying not to fight things really, or trying at least. So which is gonna be like hide support here, like keeping shadows on everyone so that you can get around.
Great. What's Raina's opinion of the mission?
Boring.
Boring.
Boring, but we're gonna, I'll follow what Witch says, and like this is necessary. This is one of the aspects of being a hero, doing boring stuff like this. Fine, I won't fight. I won't start the fight.
Yeah, but so you're generally on the same page of like, we're going in, we're getting intel, we're trying not to draw too much attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Stacy, how about you? / Coldcock, how about you?
So remind me of like this character Myopius. We haven't met this character.
No,
right?
yeah, and Myopius is actually now dead, as Lenore shared last time. Myopius is one of the villains who kind of died in mysterious circumstances. So Myopius is like the #1 nemesis of Middleman, who is kind of one of Halcyon City's like premier heroes and Lenore's ex-fiance. Myopius is basically like I mean, he's kind of like an optics themed wizard guy. Like he was. His whole deal was that he had some kind of like psychic powers, but also had a lot of powers that used like glass or mirrors or things like that, right? And was generally considered like sort of on the dangerous side of Halcyon City's villains, but again, it is now dead. And did have a very kind of specific thing about him in that he was always really into taking Middleman specifically down, more so than like, I'm gonna poison the water supply. Like Middleman would only do that if it was to bother, or sorry, Myopius would only do that if it was to bother Middleman.
Okay, so somebody killed Myopius, and we are breaking into Myopius's house for clues about that.
Yes, because Myopius is like probably the most high profile villain who has died or had something bad happen to them since you figured that conspiracy, if that's what it is, out.
Word. Okay, Stacy is confused why we are sneaking. But is definitely like down to go in, play detective, figure out who's harming all of these villains. And we'll go ahead and sneak if that's what everybody wants. But like if there's somebody at the lair, like a magic servant or something, it would be smart to ask them what they saw. But let's be a team player. Let's be sneaky.
Okay, cool. And Lee, how do you feel about your purpose in this mission?
I mean, they are definitely trying to keep things under wraps. They do not need another lecture right now.
Yeah.
At the same time, they don't necessarily want to fight, but they would not take a fight right now.
They wouldn't turn it down if the opportunity arose, for sure. Well, that does seem like everyone generally has the same purpose, so that's another team. Does anyone feel any mistrust among the team right now? Like mistrust in each other specifically?
I have no reason to mistrust anybody here. I'm paranoid, but that's
Yeah.
usual.
It's just the same baseline level of mistrust that Reina always has for anybody. Yeah. Okay, great. So with that, that's gonna be 5 team in the pool, just so everyone knows. So you got a pretty because I don't think that you're ill prepared. It seems like you've been waiting for this for a while. Yeah. You've got a good situation going. So you are like parked outside of here. This isn't like a public building. There aren't like blueprints the way that there may have been to access like the planetarium. This is like, this is a supervillain's lair. It's empty right now, or you've been given some intel that the police aren't there. Obviously, Myopius is dead. What's the game plan for actually getting into this warehouse?
Were there any like it's on the waterfront, right?
Yeah,
So is there any like dock entrances?
absolutely. Yeah. I think that you can pretty easily, without needing to roll for it or anything, like scope out the that there is like a kind of a little sort of like area where supply boats, as it seemed to be, could have come into and out of the lair itself. So you can approach from the water side and get to a pretty easy entrance if that's what you would like to do.
How y'all feel about that?
What, you
Yeah.
mean like a swim up villain lair?
Yeah.
Do we have like a boat? Y'all can probably fly because you're magic.
I can construct a boat, a very simple boat raft thing.
Like, is there something wrong with the front door?
There's
Silly question.
are there
It's okay.
any like patrols there still?
What for that, why don't you, or actually no, I'll just answer that. There are no patrols in terms of like police vehicles or anything like that. I will say that this is like it's a pretty deserted area. There's like the occasional person walking by or like group of people moving through, but it's it's late at night. Stacy probably had to ask permission to break curfew again. Who knows how well that went, but it's later on at night, and so you've got a pretty clear path in terms of if you want to go in or not.
Well, we could do the front door. I'm a little worried about more goons being in there still, but it seems clear.
I mean, if there's any goons, do you think they'd be watching the front door or the side doors people would normally sneak through?
Let's have I'm putting the call on you, Witch. What method are you going to lead your team through?
Let's do the front.
Great. Okay.
Let's not get wet.
Please.
Okay, so you all just kind of approach the front. This is like as you approach, it gets even more like obviously super villain-y. Like there's a giant pair of glasses that sort of like sit above the door. And you can see that when you approach, a pair of sort of robotic eyes opens from underneath the glasses and just sort of like and like fixates on you all approaching. All right, so Lee's flipped it off.
Yikes.
I will say after Lee does that, there's no, Lee does not get like immediately lasered to death or anything like that. There's just sort of like there's like an adjustment, like a and then they just keep staring.
I'm quickly
Stacy...
shadowing it over.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Stacy waves, then remembers that this is supposed to be a stealth mission, then like tries to hide behind a pillar. But then the shadows coalesce and like, oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. actually, I think Alice, after you shadow over these eyes, you can hear a sound that's like a pew, that sounds like something powering down after you've done that. And when like you could also see now that like the front door, it's not like there's a lock on it, but it's not, the door itself is only guarded by the lock such that you can see, and the lock itself is like a, Stacy could very easily break this. We're not talking like titanium or anything like that. It's just sort of a regular, probably that the police put there so people couldn't easily break in.
Yeah, I look back to Stacy. You want to break something?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. She'll walk up and just snap the lock, take the
Yeah.
chains away.
Yep, it's like a twig, it comes apart easily. And then, that was the only thing, kind of keep the door sort of opens just a little bit after you do that, because it was the only thing holding them closed. Will you lead the way, Stacy?
I sort of want to take Witch's lead. Like, I want Witch to like be able to like step through, because Stacy will just be very friendly upon meeting anyone instead of like actually hiding behind things and finding the dark places. So
Yeah.
needs to like follow someone else's lead at this point.
All right. Yeah, so Stacy, you step aside. Which do you kind of proceed inward?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So you all kind of follow Witch inside. And you can see this lair is pretty nice lair. You've never been in like none of you have ever gone to the caliber of like fighting like a really high tier villain, so I think there's a little bit of like, it's a little bit disheveled because it looks like probably the police have been through rifling through things and stuff like that, but you can see it's constructed like there are like it's basically like the floor is constructed of these big like iron sheets that are like bolted together, so are all the walls and things like that. There are lots of screens up. They aren't really on though, like there's nothing is like currently powered on in this place. It very much gives the sense of like, you certainly all immediately feel like, okay, yeah, we're alone in here. Like there's not a lot going on in here right now. What do you all do?
Can I like see if there's any other cameras in here at all?
Yeah, why don't you roll to assess the situation, and we'll see what you can find out as you're scoping.
Okay. That's 5.
5. All right. Well, you have some team in the pool if you want to use it, but otherwise we could just, otherwise we could just move on and have you keep exploring without getting some answers to those questions. It's your call.
Yeah, I think quick glance, don't see anything. We're gonna keep going.
Okay. Cool. What is I'm curious, Lee and Raina. So, Stacy and Witch kind of made this like sort of quieter entrance within. You're coming inside, there's lots of stuff around. Are you touching it? Are you not touching it? Or are you, like messing with stuff? Or are you kind of leaving it alone? Like, what's your reaction to seeing all of this? There's like buttons on the walls, there's gadgetry around, there's, papers strewn on the floor. What are you two doing about it?
Lee is definitely trying to like keep their eyes out for anything that looks untouched by the police, that like hasn't obviously been rifled through.
Yeah.
Something that either might have not caught their eye, might have been placed there afterwards, or just the police didn't notice.
Yeah. Cool. What about you, Raina?
Reina's trying to be good, but there's lots of shiny things, and they still have like the impetus of like, ooh, what's this? What's this? Could I use this for something? So
Yeah.
they're randomly not necessarily touching buttons. They know better than that than just touch random buttons.
Yeah.
But if there's something like, yeah, they'll pick it up and look at it and see, or if there's like an interesting looking paper or picture, they'll definitely like they trust the others to like look for, you know, whatever. So they're not necessarily watching out for any other possible what's the word I want? Defenses here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. So I think that, yeah, Raina, you're looking around and picking things up, you know, there's lots of papers on the floor, you know, like a lot of them are sort of scrawlings of like middleman weakness question mark question mark question mark, and then like there's like a list of like sharks and it's crossed off, and then like, you know, chocolate ice cream and it's crossed off. Like there's just like a that's
Shopping
stupid.
list?
It's yeah, my shopping list: sharks, chocolate ice cream, other things. But yeah, no, so it's like, you know, there's a couple of kind of like inane things on the floor. At one point you pick up an object that's just kind of like a big orb, and when you pick it up, like the warmth of your hands sort of starts to move through it, and it illuminates, so it lights up the area that you're in, which is pretty dark, and it doesn't appear to be doing anything else. It's just kind of this big warm crystal ball like thing that you've got in your hands.
I keep it. I'm like, ooh. Just like, okay.
Nice. Carrion, so you are you're looking around for things that, like, you know, maybe haven't been touched by the police, and you know it seems like most stuff here has been gone through. You get to a section though of there is, it looks like maybe the police did touch this stuff, but like only once. It almost seems like the pile of stuff they didn't think was worth looking at further, you know, like there's like coffee mugs and pencils and just random stuff like that. But the thing that catches your eye in here is a pair of purple spectacles. They look like honestly they look like big kind of reading glasses, but they're very, very thick lensed reading glasses, and that sort of catches your eye among all of the other things in this stack of stuff.
And if they kind of like hold it up, not like 100% putting it on their face, but like hold it up to look through it.
Yes, so you're not 100% putting it on your face, but you're holding up to look through it, and you can see, like, right now the area that you're in, first of all, it's nighttime. It is very messy because all of this stuff is thrown everywhere. When you look through, you see a version of this place where it's daytime and where the stuff is a little bit in neater order. You can also see that there are like people walking around, just like in that little glimpse you're getting. You can't see much, but it's like it's a view of exactly where you are right now, but in a totally different like circumstance, basically.
Does it seem to be more magical, or possibly like I'm viewing through like a camera?
That's a great question. I think that you you know, as you're kind of thinking about that and you're sort of like assessing the object, you can see that there are like little like wires and connectors running through the edges of the spectacles. They're very, you know, you only see them upon close inspection, but it does seem like these could be cameras. Yes.
Hey guys, I think I found the security system.
Good job. Is there anything on there? Maybe does it show us like when he got killed, maybe? Or was that even here?
Did Myopius get killed in his lair?
You know, I think that Yeah, actually, you did some research on this. No, he didn't. He was not killed in his lair. They came here to look for clues, but this was not like the scene of the crime.
I mean,
I'm gonna
unless
bring. Oh, I'm gonna bring the orb that I have closer to the security system just to see if it does anything.
Yeah, the orb doesn't react to like the security system, but as you're walking around with the orb, you hear your bracelet say Morena. It just like says your name, your like full first name just once, and then just kind of goes back to being silent again.
I look around if anybody else heard that.
I think that, I think everyone probably would have. It was loud enough. So what does everyone react when you like hear this? It's like a second, but you definitely hear it.
Stacy thinks that someone else is in the house with them, and is on guard and ready for a fight, or just a conversation. Uh, Hello? Y'all heard that, right? Like, was that just the Magic Mansion, or is someone else in here with us?
I figured Reina just kind of got one of those new watch things. And Lee goes like back to playing with the glasses. And
Yeah.
I think this is not a prop. These are actually my transition lenses, but I feel like they're suitable for this.
Oh yeah. Love it. Amazing. Great, yeah. So Lee's got those fully on. Is Raina doing anything to kind of play off this?
They're
What just
just
happened?
going to pretend they didn't hear it and be like,
Mhm.
oh, like fancy vault. Like,
Yeah, everyone get distracted by the shiny object. Yeah.
Carrion's got this, and we'll go not far away from the group, but just like, a little bit of a corner and just kind of glare at their bracelet.
Yeah. All right. So
Stacy's watching Reina, and just looking concerned, but obviously they want to be alone, so
yeah. Cool. Great. All right. Well, Carrion, slash Lee. So you've got these. You got the glasses fully on now.
Yeah.
And what you can see is like, I mean, this is a very advanced, like what as you like look around the room, it like shows you the part of the room that you're looking at, but what is now, as you can tell, a different time of day, maybe earlier today, maybe earlier in this week, because you can see that there are basically police officers kind of walking around, and they're sort of like looking through stuff as well. And as you're kind of getting a glimpse of this, you can hear just like coming from the leg of the glasses, just like right by your ear. You can hear just like the tiniest noise too, and it's the audio from this recording as well. You can hear an officer turning to her colleague and saying like, "Nope, nothing useful in this one either," and just starting to file through papers and things like that.
If I play with these long enough, can I possibly find like the rewind feature?
Oh, okay, yeah. So I am going to, yes, so you definitely can. You are sort of messing around with those. I'd like to ask, what in particular, like you figure out how to rewind. What are you trying to like get to? Like what moment are you trying to get to?
I'm trying to go back to like the last few hours that Myopius would have been in his lair.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
see what he was doing.
Yes. So you are kind of going back and going back and going back. And then you can see that you get back to, you know what day it was that Myopius was found dead. So you go back to like the morning of that day. And you can see Myopius, who, funnily enough, like in the privacy of his lair, they are just kind of like a regular dude, like kind of dad energy from this guy. Like there's a popular theory in Halcyon City that that Myopius was Dr. Gregory Glantz, who's an optometrist. And this is definitely like, this looks like, you know, this looks like your optometrist, just like any optometrist is what this person looks like. But you can tell that it's Myopius because he is like up at the kind of like console command center, is looking at a bunch of things. You can tell that he looks like a little frantic, like he looks a little bit frenzied. And as you kind of like scrub back and forth through this footage, you can see you know, you can see the stuff that he's like working on. Nothing is really like standing out to you as like, you know, particularly strange or anything like that. You know, it's like, oh, he's got, you know, he's ordering some parts from like a laboratory supply store or whatever. And then there's another section where, you know, he is on his computer and he's kind of like looking at a map of different locations in Halcyon City that like approximately map onto places where, you know, he's committed crimes. But it's really his like attitude that is the most strange, because this should just be like a villain kind of hanging out in his like the privacy of his lair, you know, just like nothing that stressful seems to be going on. But he kind of just like, you know, like seems like he's sort of shaking something off, and eventually he like gets up, grabs his like purple cape that is like the Myopius costume, and then leaves. And that's the last that you see of him in this security footage.
Okay. When I'm using the glasses, is it like I'm seeing it all in real time or from like different angles?
You're seeing it in real time. So basically, like if you're walking around the room, basically you just see what's in front of you in real time.
Okay, can I peep this guy's password on his computer?
Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely peep his password. His password is his passwords is like optics, OPTIX, and then like 8 sevens, and that's pretty much it. He doesn't have the tightest security, but you get that.
All right, well, I probably at that point take the glasses off, at least for the moment, and just kind of like look around back at like what the nighttime. So these might be useful. I'm not sure how useful they are outside of this place. We can definitely play around with that later. But I'm going to go snoop on his computer.
Cool. So Carrion's going over to the computer. Carrion is typing in optics with 8 sevens, and getting access. What is it that you're looking to accomplish on the computer?
I'm looking for information, of course. If maybe he had like any emails up that seemed a little bit weird, look through his browser history, see what crazy shit supervillains actually Google during the day.
Yeah, okay.
Just like the basic.
I'm gonna have you roll and assess the situation that's going to be specific to this computer, or just kind of what you're looking for there. So go ahead and roll plus superior.
Perfect. So that'll be a 10.
Okay, great. So with a 10, you can pick two of what here can I use to blank, what here is the biggest threat, what here is in the greatest danger, who here is most vulnerable to me, and how could we best end this quickly?
Okay. I also have criminal mind, which gives me a few extra questions.
Nice.
Which is so the first one, because out of these questions, there's what here is useful or valuable to me. How could I best infuriate or provoke? What's the best way in, way past? So of course, the first one is going to be what here is useful or valuable to me. And then I will make my decision on the second question based on the answer of the first.
Right. Yeah. So on the computer, you can see there are emails that have come in it's funny to imagine a supervillain with just like a Gmail account or Outlook. I don't know what he uses, but there are like
Hotmail.
there are messages that have come through since Myopius's death from would appear to be other supervillains. And there are some that even came through, like, you know, in the time between like when he left his lair and when he was found dead. Like, there's a bunch of messages. And a lot of them are saying the same things that are like, hey, do you know what's going on? Because we've got a lot of people who are, you know, in rough shape right now. And you know, other messages being like, you know, hey, Biopius, did you hear what happened to the chain? Like, did you hear what happened to Bareth? All of these just like things. And then after Myopius died, there's a lot of messages just being like, hey, you're not really dead, are you? Like, or you're like secretly trying to like hide out somewhere, right? And just from a lot of villains who seem really shaken by this. So I think that is that feels like useful information, especially because there does seem to be kind of like a list forming in here of villains who did like die or have been knocked unconscious or are like in a coma or something like that. You're getting kind of like, you're gleaning a list from these emails as you're reading them, and that seems very valuable.
Okay.
I think I've like had put the orb down for now, and it's kind of like leaning over their shoulder to like look at the list of villains. And I think immediately my mind is going to see if I don't think I ever named them, but like the one that Dawn works for, if their name is on this, like in correspondence or anything.
Yeah. So do you mean who Adon works for in like in now or
Yeah, now,
later?
currently.
Okay.
Like,
yeah. So
because I feel like this whole thing, either she doesn't remember completely, or it didn't happen, or maybe it did happen
yeah.
and didn't pay attention. Just seeing like, okay, there's ripples, things are different already.
Yes. I will say, the name that is familiar to you on this list, you don't see a name that's like, oh, this is who Adon worked with or whatever. There is one name that someone mentions in an email being like, hey, did you hear what happened? And it's Haywire. Haywire being the villain who kind of joined the fight, and this is, you know, unknown to some, but this is the villain who kind of at one point made Reyna's powers sort of overload. And so that's a name that you recognize. That name is on this list.
So I'm definitely writing down probably the list of people along with like
Right.
their email addresses.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't like broadcast what I'm doing with this next question, but I would like to see like what's the best way into like this villain group chat.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I have one answer that's funny, which would be to be like, don't worry, guys, I'm alive, and pretend to be Myopius. Like I think that like immediately puts itself forward as like, I don't know how sustainable that is, but like a bunch of people are asking like, hey, you're not really dead, right? So you think that may be like within the realm of being like, you might be able to be in the villain chat for like, you know, a decent amount of time before anyone's like gets too suspicious. It might be an immediate way in, just you don't know how long it'll last.
Yeah, but is there like an intro channel in the group Discord or something
Discord.
to like pose as a new supervillain?
I think posing as a new supervillain, like if you get all of these names and emails, you could probably just like come up with your own identity and like start like a, you know, start a text thread of your own being like, hey, you know, like pick a villain of your choice, wanted to connect me, how's everyone doing? That might work, you know, like you've got enough information that might be enough, but there's no like there's no specific, a lot of these people seem to be people who have known each other for a while. So that would be your best bet, but you would still definitely be coming across as sort of like a new person there.
Okay. I'm going to do something with that later, but for right now I'm pocketing that.
Great. Okay, wonderful. So yeah, some great things happening on the computer over there. Let's check in. So yeah, Reina's kind of like watching over a little bit, but did not necessarily notice Lee's collecting of, a potential planned subterfuge. But let's check in with Stacy and Witch. What are you two doing as Reina and Lee are kind of by the computer looking at stuff around there?
I mean, this villain was like magic dude, illusions and stuff. So, which is gonna use the shadow smoke to see if there's any like drafts for like secret rooms or anything like that.
Yeah, great. Cool. What about you, Stacy? What are you doing?
No clue what Stacy's doing. Like, is a little freaked out by like something said Reina's name in this magic like castle, and also it's a magic castle. Curses? Magic portals to places? I don't know. But trying to like is trying to be useful, but just doesn't know what to do in this moment and looks a little lost.
Okay, yeah. So Witch, as you're kind of sending this shadow smoke out, you don't notice any like drafts or anything in particular, but one thing that like really stands out right away, the smoke ends up kind of moving its way around like a square, like plinth kind of thing in the middle of the room. Like it looks like there is an invisible something sort of in the middle of the room that you can now see because your shadow has sort of moved around it and given you an idea of like its shape and form.
Can I touch it? Is it like there?
Yeah, it's there. So when you touch it, you could feel your hand kind of start to like vibrate just a little bit with this thing as it starts to move. And you can see that a hologram appears in the room, and it is actually the same security footage that was sort of like automatically playing when Lee picked up the glasses. So it's these police officers, but so they're kind of like moving through stuff, and at one point, the one of the officers who she's like she's an older woman. She's got gray hair kind of like tucked back into like a French braid. She's got sort of bronze colored skin. And she just kind of like turns to the guy next to her, who's sort of like a beefy, pale looking dude, and says, I'm hearing that the Myopius had the same thing as Misappear as the chain, everybody just like same thing, and the other officer says, oh really, yeah, that little like diamond shaped bruise thing, really, that's so weird. I would have bet money that this was Middleman's doing and he was just like trying not to take credit for it. And the other officer says, yeah, I don't know. My guess is like new super, probably. Like they're gonna come out in the next couple of days. It's gonna be like, oh, I'm Diamondback. I'm the Rhombus King. I don't know. Like there's something with this little diamond bruise. But hey, if you ask me, it's just like it's villains, right? Like makes our job easier, like honestly, it's like it's taken Middleman this long to take this guy down, and now he's down. So thanks to the Rhombus Lord or whoever it is. And the other officer just sort of laughs and they go back to sorting their files. And the holograms kind of stay up in the room, but they're no longer talking to each other.
Do we know of any diamond themed villains? I'm asking the group, like everyone here.
Do we?
Did we see, like, did we all see that?
Yeah, that was a hologram that kind of popped up in the middle of the room, like replaying the security footage.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Stacy, like, does Stacy know of any rhombus themed villains?
I'm gonna go ahead and say
Or
that none of you
heroes?
have a rhombus themed
Okay.
villain or hero in their in your back catalog. No.
Yeah, I think Stacy looks a little angry at like the hologram, and turns away from it. Um,
Yeah.
Alice, that is such a good pun. I'm sorry.
But yeah. Okay. So, anyone else have any like reaction to what's what these officers in the hologram security footage have just said?
A little bit of confusion, but Raina's still stuck on seeing Haywire. Like, wasn't expecting to see Haywire's name so soon, and just kind of like staring at their bracelet. But shakes their head to answer the question, like, no, I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, are we good here?
Okay. As everyone's kind of sitting around and pondering this, like in the silence that has happened after this, you hear a loud clattering noise coming from deeper in this warehouse. It's unmistakable that is either something falling over or something's going on back there. And it's loud enough that you all definitely hear it and it catches your attention. What would you like to do?
I'm immediately like shadowing everyone and then like
Okay, yeah.
Finally, some action.
I can like pop the glasses back on and see if I can like tune into whatever security cameras.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know the way that the glasses work, you can't like see what's going on currently, but definitely like you get those on. You've also kind of got this computer screen in front of you, and you do see like off in the corner that there's like a little bit of movement on like what looks like it might be a security feed from a different area, but you can't see what's going on. You just see movement. But so you're all in shadow. And you're all kind of been shushed. Is everyone just kind of like hunkering in where you are and just like listening to see what's going on?
If I could just like lower myself and get a little bit of cover.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I think I actually start going forward. So I'm like, oh,
okay.
I'm cloaked, and
yeah. So it's like you're in stealth mode. You're starting to move. How about Stacy?
Stacy would probably try to go forward quietly and investigate the noise. They're here to find out answers, and that sounds like something.
Great. Okay. So, you all kind of like, they're sort of like quietly starting to move through. You can hear like whatever made this noise is coming towards you and does not seem to care that it's making noise. It's just, you just hear, and when you kind of get into sort of like the next big open room, it's not a hallway, it's like a hall, right? Like it's like a big room that's sort of your next place. You can see coming from the other side of the hall, you all are cloaked in darkness, so they can't see you. But you see Solstice, your old, not friends, but the super supers, the top teen hero team of the day coming towards you. And you can see that High Noon, who is sort of pale and blonde, is kind of like leading the pack. And then you've got Dusk, Break, and Dawnfall. Got it right. Who are both, like very striking, kind of following behind. And then you also see another figure coming up behind as well, which is weird because Solstice has always been a trio. But High Noon kind of walks forward, sort of like assesses the hallway and says, I don't know, Midnight, what do you think? And the one called Midnight steps forward. She is wearing kind of like a gothier version of their armored gold suits. It's kind of like a dark burnished gold. This Stacy would recognize as Aaliyah Banks, Stacy's ex-girlfriend, who kind of like crosses her arms, looks over at the rest, and says, I don't know, I think we're just gonna have to look around. And they start to kind of like fan out, and they're moving in this hall. They're kind of like checking out the side walls and things like that, but they're definitely like they're starting to migrate to the area where you all just came from.
Yeah, Stacy's first instinct when she figured out it was like the hero trio they had met before was, oh, heroes, good. Like, let's introduce and collab to like help each other with the find out mission. And then immediately was like, wait, no, stealth. And also, for some reason, we don't like them. And then like on top of that, like, oh, Aaliyah's here. So I think that Stacy is going to probably look to Reina and just be like, we should go. All of us should get out before we're found here because we be beefing with them and we don't want to like just with eyes and body motion, let's skedaddle.
And
Is
none
Reina
of us
like
know about your
yes
ex,
or
right?
no? Everybody knows about my ex. You probably
Okay.
don't know what she looks like.
Okay. Yeah.
I
So we
tell
don't.
everyone everything.
Mood, Stacy, mood.
But yeah, you probably don't know that particularly is
Right.
my ex.
Yeah.
But like,
So yeah, I'm just like, why are we leaving? We can take them.
they weren't fighting, and I thought they were heroes. What's going on?
So if they're not heroes, that means we're allowed to fight them, right?
I mean, we could. Why are we talking about fighting? This wasn't the mission.
Because it's the solstice. Fine, you're right. Looks at
We should
looks at
probably
Wish and
see what
remembers.
they're up to at least, guys.
Yeah, let's do that.
They are
Sorry.
headed like towards the rest of the group, so we need to like go back and
Just
spread
shuffle
this
over
info
to
We just do
anyway.
the we just did the Scooby Doo thing of like going.
Yeah. All right. So you all, so I love this. You all kind of like slink off to the side. All right. So you're slinking off to the side. They're continuing to have a conversation. And they kind of like move around. You can see that Dusk, Break, and Dawnfall kind of like are they kind of like head ahead and are like moving around, scoping out the place. And High Noon turns to Midnight, Aaliyah, and says, I thought that you said that she was going to be here. And Aaliyah said, I thought so too. I mean, and pulls out like like basically like an iPad, like a tablet, and is like kind of opening and closing and says like all of my I have mapped onto, well, it's hard because I'm here now and well, Coldcock and I have similar power signatures, but it looks, I mean, there's only one other one in all of Halcyon City who should be like this, and I thought it was here. And but they're still sort of just looking around. And yes,
And we all just turn and face Stacy.
I'm kind of ruining the stealth mission, gang. I'm sorry. How do we want to play this? Looks to everybody, specifically looks to Witch, since like Witch put all of this together.
Girl, I think your ex is a little crazy.
Don't
gonna...
say that. She's a little
She's
misguided.
tracking
I
you.
think it's fine. It's whatever. What are we doing?
I still feel like we're missing something here. I don't want to leave just yet. But if they have your power signature, it's
Yeah.
kind of
I
only a matter
can-
of time.
I
think
can
they're
go
gonna
off
notice if
somewhere.
we leave.
I can go off somewhere else and I can split up from the group and talk to them, and you can do your investigating, and it'll be fine.
This is like, I'm gonna move.
I don't think 4 against 1 is odds we really want to take unless it's us on them.
It's
I
no,
can take them.
it's
I can
fine.
take them.
They're
You
not
all
here
Celia.
looking for a fight. They're not
No.
here looking for a fight.
Okay.
It's fine. It's
Okay,
just
you mean physical fight? I can be a verbal fight.
no. It's fine. It's just Leah, guys. Like it'll be fine. Like I'll talk to them, figure out what they want to find out, and I'll be back.
As you say that, Stacy, you hear High Noon, who has kind of like been in this conversation with Aaliyah, say, you know what? Maybe if Coldcock's here somewhere, this should work. And High Noon like puts a finger to their temple, and is going to use their power. You all would know what this is. High Noon has basically the ability to like, High Noon's power is basically 1v1 me. It's compel duel. It's basically like, I'm gonna call someone out right now, and they're gonna have to come and confront me, kind of one-on-one. And so High Noon puts a finger to their temple, and says, Coldcock, and this is going to be so you, Stacy, will immediately feel a pull to like step forward and reveal yourself. You can absolutely like resist that. You definitely can do that. First, I'm gonna ask, like, are you going to resist it? And if so, in what way are you attempting to resist it?
I want to eventually step out there and like say, hey, what's good? Just hanging out in abandoned places like Stacy do. But I want to resist long enough to give them some time to hide or like look for some things or like figure out a better position to be in. So I would like to resist for a little while and then come out to them.
And do you think you're trying to just like psychologically resist it? Yeah, okay. We're gonna make this taking a powerful blow then. So go ahead and roll plus conditions.
This will be totally fine. Taking a powerful blow, I can roll low. I can do that. Not low. Not awful though. That is an 8.
With an 8. All right. Please choose one from the list. You can lash out verbally, you can give ground, or you can struggle past the pain.
Could I possibly use a move to help Stacy out really quick?
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got something, please do.
Because if you would like to spend a team to get yourself over that 8,
I'm taking a powerful blow, so I'm trying to
Okay.
go
Yeah,
low.
it's lower.
But yeah, I'll
Okay.
just be like, oh wait. And I think I will give ground and let them get an opportunity. And I think the giving ground is just me like revealing myself anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
Quicker than like I thought, like as I'm talking to them, like walking backwards and being like
Okay. So Stacy ends up very casually against the wall, but I do think that the rest of you are still shrouded in shadow, and so you have not been noticed by them, and High Noon will kind of like put their hand down and say, "Oh, you were right there."
Hey, we met like sort of earlier, like yesterday. No, a couple of days ago, kind of. It was a thing. There was a broken planetarium. Hi, I'm Stacy Jane. Y'all are like some really cool heroes. And Leah, hey, how you
Yeah.
been? How y'all doing? What's up?
The whole time that you're like talking to High Noon is just like going back and forth between you and Aaliyah, just like watching like your reactions. Aaliyah is just sort of like literally just like staring like without blinking like into your soul the whole time, even while you're talking to High Noon, is just like staring at you. And Aaliyah says, Stacy, I've been good. How are your parents?
Oh, you know, they worry. But I'm all right. Just, had to get out of the house a little bit. Gets kind of stifling. And I wanted to be alone and found myself walking into this random mansion.
So, okay, a couple things. One, how could you walk in here without realizing that it's a supervillain lair? I'm actually really confused about that. Because there's kind of like there's sort of giant like robot eyes above the door. And also tons of supervillain stuff just kind of around. Two, I know where you live. It's not anywhere near here. And three, why would you do that? Why would you just go walking somewhere random just like on your own? That's dangerous. Even if you've got superpowers, that's why we work in superhero teams.
I've had a rough year. I've had a really rough year, I think. What's up? You all called me. Have been looking for me, it seems. What can I do for the 4 of you? Did you get inducted into a superhero team? That's congratulations, Aaliyah.
She kind of like looks down and says, thank you. I sort of figured it was time to work with someone else again. Okay, so while this is happening, the rest of you still cloaked in shadow. I think that having heard the voices that Duskbreak and Dawnfall have kind of migrated back into the hall. I want to quickly check in. Lee, Alice, and Raina, you do have like opportunities to look around. You also have opportunities to stay exactly where you are and watch this go down. I'm wondering what everyone's doing.
Not missing this for anything.
Great. Yeah.
I don't want to stay here and invade their privacy, but I cannot leave to look around without losing the shadows on everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I think at this point, Lee would just take it and watch still.
Yeah. What about Raina?
Is of two minds. Is like kind of want to watch this, but also kind of want to be there if they need to snipe some people to help Stacy out, because I know what it's like to interact with an ex. So it could mean death. So, but also I could see like witches like, oh no, like kind of like back and forth, like, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, these things. I'm a good person now. I'm a good person now. And I'll gently grab onto Carrion's like the back of their clothing. And like, come on, let's go.
No.
Yeah, so I'm gonna imagine that this power struggle is pretty much taking up a lot of the time you would have been using either way. But okay, so Aaliyah does not answer the question of you called me. So High Noon will, after being silent for like a good amount of time, and then just say, so we actually came here to see you. I was assuming you had a reason for coming to Myobius's lair, but I don't know. Is your team really not here?
We all just freeze in place.
I haven't texted them in a while.
Oh, look at you with the convenient true statement. All right. So High Noon sort of shakes it off, like whatever, and they say, well, look, we had to come see you because we intercepted a package and it's for you.
You're reading my mail?
It wasn't quite a traditionally mailed package. My understanding is that you were at Haltech a few days ago when Emerita broke her parole.
Yeah. I had a theory and was just gonna run with it. I made some rash decisions. It's been a week. What's up?
And they're sort of like looking around. And High Noon says, so this kind of like pink metal drone flew into Halcyon City and we intercepted it because, we thought it might have something to do with Emerita, who is obviously gone. But it was this for you. And High Noon will kind of like hold out like a busted up drone, and inside is like just a package, like a brown little small package, and we'll like hand it over. Don't worry, we checked. There's no explosives or poisons or toxins or anything like that on it, but it's for you.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. I'm a little confused. You know, my address, you could have just, like, sent it along through the mail. What's
Oh.
up?
Aaliyah will say it that like very snappily, like this is part of an investigation. Emerita is actively a fugitive right now, so obviously we couldn't just send it through the mail.
So about Emerita dodging parole, you remember how I was like, I'm on theories, and I was on 10 when I visited Haltech, like earlier this week, and I really needed to be on like a 5 or a 4, but I was on 10. And when that theory hit my head of, hey, maybe there's someone that is targeting the villains of Halcyon City.
Before Stacy can say anymore, can like Lee just reach out a hand and grab them back?
Oh, you're trying to like grab Stacy back into the shadows?
Yes.
Okay.
Stacy does not need to be giving all of our secrets away.
I mean, yes, you can. This is going to be a pretty obvious move.
Yeah, no, there's no not obvious, but if it'll shut her up.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stacy, you're super strong. If you want to resist being moved, you can, but definitely like a hand is going to extend out of the shadow. You're going to feel yourself being tugged backwards. And you can see High Noon and Aaliyah are a little absorbed in the conversation, but Duskfall and Dawnbreak are sort of like craning their heads at like this like shadowy appendage that is just like appeared to and is like touching your back.
Or listen, y'all are heroes, right? We can work together. I tried to save Emerita because I thought someone was going to kill her or take away her powers. And there have been a lot of villains disappearing or winding up dead. And I wanted to stop that. So I did that.
So okay. So what's gonna happen is High Noon and Aaliyah don't really say anything. Duskbreak and Dawnfall are sort of like craning around. And then from within the shadow, you all can hear again, Raina. Coming from Raina's bracelet. And with that, Dawnfall is kind of just going to look around, like expel a bunch of light from it kind of just like comes from within her, flood the room, and all of you are now standing, Lee with your hand on Stacy's back. All the rest of you are just standing in the light in front of Solstice. And that's where we're going to stop for our break. We'll come back and see what the hell is going to happen next. But yes, we'll be back in 15 minutes. Get some water, take your meds if you've got to take some meds. And hey, take a minute to subscribe to the Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube. You've got time. And we'll be back in 15. More Freezerburnt. Welcome back, everybody. Let's jump straight back into the action. Before the break, Dawn, whoever she is, Dawnfall, had spread out her light powers and revealed the rest of the defrigerators hanging just behind Stacy. I think we're going to start with just a panel of the awkward silence that is like the first thing. It's just everyone kind of like staring at each other in this room. High Noon will be the one to break it, and they say, "See, I was pretty sure you wouldn't have come without them."
Yeah, I'm on a team mission. We're looking up conspiracy stuff. Like I was telling you, we're doing the hero thing.
High
Team,
Noon?
y'all know everybody. And Midnight is your cool new name? Midnight.
Yeah, Aaliyah will sort of like incline the head towards all of you. And then High Noon will say, what? You all didn't want to say hi?
Didn't have
We
to
don't talk
make
to
it so bright.
stalkers
Yeah.
and and people who intercept mail. And
Again,
You guys
you
not
could have
mail.
called a
Impression.
meeting. You could
That's
have
a
called a
federal
meeting.
crime, by the way.
It wasn't mail.
It's
It
a
was not
felony.
going. All right. At this point,
Yeah, this is why I didn't want to. This is why I wanted a 1-on-4. It's okay.
Dawnfall will sort of like cross her arms and like toss her hair and say, look, we don't want to interrupt whatever you're doing. It sounds like you're maybe in the middle of something, but we do think you should open that, like, with other people around, because we're pretty sure it's not dangerous, but we don't know what's inside.
Hi, we're 3 other people around Stacy.
Bye. Thank you for being the mailman and delivering this to Stacy.
Stacy, I think this is probably your call. So, as much as we don't trust them, it's up to you.
Don't like them. They're smug assholes.
Hey, I don't think you're smug assholes. It's we need to like talk, but it's fine. Thank you so much for delivering this package to me. I appreciate it. And thank you for looking out for me. And just in case you think it's dangerous. We can let you know if there are any updates in the villain conspiracy. And if
Or
you hear
not.
anything, you could let us know too. Maybe we can work together, or we can't because my team says no.
Aaliyah will kind of look directly at Stacy and say, and kind of like jerk her head backwards and say, come on, they don't want us here. And we'll sort of like turn around and say, by the way, with this villain thing, I mean, you sure it's not like a hero doing it? I mean, villains, they get defeated. That's part of the deal.
Defeated and sent to jail, not killed.
I don't know. Sometimes villains get killed.
People are getting massacred.
I want to be a hero that saves people. So I'm gonna try to save as many as I can.
Aaliyah sort of opens her mouth like she's gonna say something else, and then just like turns and starts to walk away.
Can I pierce the mask?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and roll to pierce the mask. Plus mundane, please.
Okay. That's not bad. That is an 8 plus
Okay.
1 for a 9. And
Nice.
Allie, I will ask you a question. Does Aaliyah, does Stacy have influence over Aaliyah?
I think Stacy has influence over Aaliyah. Yes.
Then that's another plus 1 for a 10, baby. Let's go. What does this even mean? What does pierce the mask do? I don't know.
Your questions
Okay.
are, what
So
are you
Allie
really
has
planning?
3.
Yeah, what are you really planning? What do you want me to do? What do you intend to do? How could I get your character to blank? Or how could I gain influence over you?
What do you intend to do?
Yeah, so I think you're kind of reading Aaliyah's body language. You get the sense that Aaliyah intends to Aaliyah's intention right now is basically to leave in a huff. Like Aaliyah is frustrated that this didn't go better. But Aaliyah has a temper, right? And is like appears to kind of be holding it in for the sake of the new team, but like is sort of just like, no, like Stacy doesn't want to talk, they're not going to talk, bye. So Aaliyah tends to leave and really leave.
What do you want me to do?
Aaliyah wants you to basically be more open. Like Aaliyah really wants to know what's in this package, but I think Aaliyah and how proud she is well enough to know that Aaliyah's not gonna ask you to do it. Like Aaliyah's gonna tell you, oh, you should. Aaliyah's gonna tell you, like, it's in your best interest to blah blah blah. Aaliyah would never ask, like, oh, but I really want to know what's in there, or like, Aaliyah would not ever directly make a request of someone else pretty much ever, right? So this is so Aaliyah wants you to come to the decision on your own that you should open this box in front of all of them.
How could I get your character to help me take down the villain killing conspiracy?
Yeah. You think this is the thing that had the most to do with Aaliyah starting to say something and then not? Aaliyah. Aaliyah likes a puzzle. Aaliyah likes a challenge. And the Aaliyah, deep down would care about something like this. Like, is this still that same person? You don't know. But you think that if you did like fully let her and probably the rest of the solstice into what's going on, that she might want to help and is just like too proud to actually say it.
Okay.
Great. But yeah, so Aaliyah's just gonna kind of keep walking away, as is the rest of Solstice. And they are going to, like, you could hear them moving throughout the building. And eventually you can't hear the footsteps anymore.
Why are we mean to them? Have they done something to us? Have they said anything mean to y'all?
Clearly, you're vulnerable. You just talked to your ex. I mean, you don't have to be mean to them. It's not going to stop me from being mean to people who think they're better than us just because they have the whole media with them and has spun everything. And their general attitude to us has always been like, we're nobodies.
Oh,
Your ex notwithstanding. I mean, this is the first time I've met your ex, but considering all that you've talked about your ex, I mean,
Yeah, Stacy, I'm not willing to give them an inch that they're not going to earn. After all, they're going to be heroes, real heroes. And that means they're not going to do anything good unless it means that they look good for the media.
I think that's a very pessimistic view of things.
I think it's a realistic view. It's how it has been. It's what just about every major hero does. They care about their press junkets and media releases and which villains are going to look best behind them on the front cover of the news as they're talking to the police.
That's not what we do here.
we're
What
different.
we do.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't like us. That's why the news doesn't like us. That's why we're getting labeled as vigilantes, because we're not primping and show ponying in front of cameras and reporters.
We're actually getting shit done. But again, Stacy, you do not have to be mean to them if you don't want to be. If you want to be friends with them outside of official hero business, you know, I
I
mean,
don't.
You can also just stick it to your ex too. Same.
I don't think famous means bad.
In my history, it does.
no, you're right. Famous doesn't always mean bad, but did you want us to be with you? Only one of us looks at which.
Well, we have a clue, I guess, from Emeritus. I know y'all maybe might not have agreed with my decision to allow her to escape either. I knew something bad was going to happen if villains were getting picked off and she had a tracking device on her. I'm sorry. But do y'all want to stay around, see this? It's probably just like a thank you letter or something. I hope it has cats on it. I like the Hallmark cards with cats.
Let's bust it open.
Might as well see what she wants.
Rip.
All right. So Stacy, you open this box, and the first thing that happens is like a tiny little pink, metal stick just like sticks itself out and like scans your face, like and then you hear a voice that's like identity confirmed, and it retracts. And then from within, and you can see like what's inside is like a small little, it's like a metal square, and from the metal square erupts another hologram, and this one you can see Emerita, who is kind of like, I don't know how to work this. Is this, I think it's recorded. So hello, my wife and I are safe outside of Halcyon City. well, safe as we can be. I mean, she's still, regardless, but normally I would find another quote unquote villain to share this with, but given what you warned me about, I'm worried the information wouldn't last long there. You decided to save me. I'm deciding to trust you. The reason I wanted the halcyonium from the meteorite is because I found traces of it in a small wound on my wife's body. The hospital didn't pick up on it. They don't even have tests to identify it because it's so rare, but one of my wife's inventions did. I needed a larger sample if I was to find a way to reverse its effects, if it is even what is causing my wife's condition. Anyway, I don't know if the other so-called villains who have died or been injured are so afflicted in the same way as my wife, but I've been closing this in case it becomes useful to you. And the hologram kind of like powers down. And you can see like there's still space in the box. There looks to be another object inside.
I take out the other objects.
So you pick up the object. It is like a it is a metal, basically like a Polaroid camera, like an old school Polaroid camera made of the same like shiny pink metallic stuff. Yeah, but I mean, like it's like an instant print Polaroid camera.
A new clue. That's good news.
Hey, Stacy, do you happen to know the natural formation of calcionite?
Geology isn't really my specialty. I did a lot more in like medical engineering and stuff like that. But from what I remember when I was young, halcyon is pretty much a mystery. It's very, very rare. It only came from one meteor that landed here a very, very long time ago. And people didn't think there was anything special about it. But if the halcyonite is in the wounds of some of the villains that are getting disappeared, then it might be relevant.
Then I think we have to figure out how they're crystallizing it, I guess. Because that's what it seems like is happening.
So as you're all kind of like standing around this object that you've got, Reina, your bracelet goes off again. And it says Reina, Morena, Reina, Kaida Reina, over and over and over again. Like it won't stop. This is the longest that it's
I tried banging it against the wall. Like, shut
okay.
up.
Is that a
As
phone
you're
call you need to answer?
It's a cursed thing that I don't know what it is. I can't take it off.
As you're banging, what is coming out of the bracelet changes from someone else's voice to your own voice. It is unmistakably your voice coming out of this bracelet, and it is saying over and over again, Adon, Adon, Adon. And as that's happening, you all hear a boop, boop, intruders, boop, boop, intruders. and you can I imagine that either Lee may still have the glasses on, or at least still an eye on the security cameras, and you can see like a little feed pops up of the front entrance that you walked through a little bit before. There are two people, kind of like shrouded figures, who are just like waltzing their way through without like any, they're taking no precautions whatsoever as they just like open the door and walk in. And you can hear them like talking, like you get a little snippet of what they're saying. And one of them says, okay, so the plan is for us to just get in and get out. And the other one says, that's right, El Soldado. We're just getting in and we're getting out. And as you're processing this, the security systems in this giant warehouse kind of start to activate. And the walls, which are made of these iron sheets, as well as like the computers, everything kind of starts like flipping and rotating, right? And on the other side of everything is a mirror. So it's like the computer screen turns over, it's a mirror. One of the wall sides turns over and it's a mirror. From between the iron sheets that make up the floor, mirrors like shoot up from each of them, kind of subdividing all of you. They also start kind of like gently, they're not like, moving violently, but they sort of start gently rotating as well. So you all are getting like kind of pushed away from each other, pushed into different areas as this system activates. Also, some like colored lights kind of start twinkling up around here. You're being squished and pushed and moved around until essentially you all are in a giant kaleidoscope kind of funhouse maze where there's just all of these lights and mirrors getting in your way. And you've been well enough divided by the rotating, bumping panels that you all are now functionally alone. So everyone's kind of ended up in your own areas. If you start talking, you can hear each other, but you can hear the sound of a person, but between the whooping alarm and just like the extra bouncing off material that's been added in here, it's pretty echoey, and it's difficult to discern where exactly noise is coming from. We are going to start with we're going to start with Lee. So Lee, you kind of end up in this situation. What is it that you try to do when you find yourself alone and having been bumped away by the security system?
Since I know that there's other people in here / are coming in here, Lee isn't going to call out. They are going to actually utilize the group text for the first time and like shoot a message, just like everyone okay? And then they're going to start playing around with the glasses. Since they're tied to this layer, hopefully like there's like some setting on these things that are like a GPS.
So you start playing, so you send off the text to the group chat. You start playing around the glasses. You realize that the glasses now, they're no longer in that functionality mode where you could only see what you're looking at. Now you can switch between cameras that are all over this place. And there's not a GPS, but what you do see is somewhere wandering in one of these mazes, looking extremely confused, is High Noon from the solstice. Just sort of like meandering, and you can see on the screen that they're just sort of like feeling the walls, just like trying to make their way through. They're the first like person you see on this camera.
How close are they?
I think after a minute of sort of like looking through, they're not that far from you. Like they seem to have been shifted into like a chamber that is basically like you can make a couple lefts and then you're into where they are.
Fine. Yeah, Lee, if that's the first person Lee sees, they're going to at least make sure that they encounter them first and the other way around. They do not want to be surprised by the person that could compel them into a fight.
Yeah. So you kind of like end up in like surprisingly literally like or sorry Lee ends up surprising High Noon from literally like appearing around the corner, and High Noon immediately puts their hands up and says, I promise I was about to leave.
Are the rest of your stupid friends in here?
I think that Duskbreak and Dawnfall are gone. I was coming back after Aaliyah, Midnight, who refused to leave.
So it's my stupid friend's ex that's in here. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so what is with that?
I don't know. Like, I think this, I don't actually know. They talk a lot about their ex, and like she's really torn up about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it's like it seems like Midnight dumped kind of, but Aaliyah's like really broken up about it too, which is weird, you know?
Yeah. Either they're going to kiss or possibly kill each other again. Just saying that now.
You know, two sides of the same coin, in my opinion. I wasn't implying. Someone else is here. That's weird. Any idea who?
Two people. No idea. Did I hear the El Sodato name, or was that just?
Yeah, you would have heard that. Yep.
I mean, not that I'm familiar with on either side of things. El Sodato, if you have any clue.
I can't think of anything. Hey, I have a question. Have you is this your first time doing the hero thing?
Why?
It's weird. I for some reason I think you look familiar, but I can't remember, I feel like I would have remembered you.
I mean, I try to make it a point where I'm not remembered.
You might need to improve that a little bit. I think you're pretty memorable.
Well, maybe I do, but whether or not this is the first go around cowboy, it's not really something you need to worry about.
Fair enough. So, you have any idea how we get out of this place? Because I'll be honest, I'm not really big on enclosed spaces.
I mean, give me a second. Don't move. Let me see if. And then, like, instead of like saying anything, they just start like tapping through the cameras, looking away.
Okay, cool. All right, that's where we're gonna leave that scene off for now. So next, let's check in with Stacy. So Stacy, you don't have any glasses of any kind to aid you. You are just kind of.
I have my bifocals.
Yeah, you have your your regular old help you see glasses, but So but you are, kind of you've ended up inside this giant kaleidoscope funhouse maze thing. What's Stacy's approach to this predicament?
I know this is magic. I know punching magic is a bad idea. But it's a maze, and I've had a long day. So I'm just gonna try to punch through the walls and
Right.
go in a straight line. If this place follows the laws of physics, I should be able to get out of here pretty soon.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna have you unleash your powers to do this. I think that you're definitely overcoming an obstacle and like literally reshaping the environment here. So let's roll plus freak and see what we get.
All right, let's go, besties. I got a +1 in freak. We can do this. That's a 2 and a 1, besties. I've got potential. That's what I got.
You got potential, yes. Yeah, and honestly, like you don't. That's pretty low, regardless, and you don't really have teammates with you. So I think that that's just gonna be.
Oh no! Like I feel like Stacy knew punching magic is a bad idea, but like you gotta try punching magic. And as soon as Stacy punches magic, it blasts back. And this is clearly not a problem you can punch out of.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly I think that what Stacy maybe was the least prepared for is that this is magic, but also physical stuff. Like these seem to be really powerful mirrors as well that have been like rigged with some, kind of like magical abilities. So you're kind of like punching at them. And it's like when you punch them, it just sort of ends up like distorting the image that you see even more, just like over and over and over again until you are like in even more of a difficult bind. What does happen though, as you're kind of like trying to punch your way through, is you hear a noise not far from you that sounds like exactly the noise you just made. It sounds like repeated punching of something glass and heavy and hard, and it does not sound like it's shattering anything or making its way through.
I guess it is solve a maze time. And I will look around and try to follow my ears towards the sound.
Okay, yeah. If you're following your ears towards the sound, it will take you a bit. And because sounds sort of bouncing around and it's not really getting through, you're not really following like a clear path. You're like doubling back, you keep going in the wrong location until you literally smack into Aaliyah, who I think there's something interesting that happens here. Aaliyah and Stacy obviously don't really like look similar. Like they've got Aaliyah always had the more goth aesthetic. Maybe she's toned it down a little bit more. But and then you've got Stacy, who's this like nerd with the the colorful hair and just like the
you're also pastel and goth lesbians. That's the vibe.
That's the vibe. But something is happening as you're kind of like you end up in this like funhouse mirror corridor, and it's like you look across at where you expect to see your reflection and you see Aaliyah, and then look at like it's like there's a million yous and a million Aaliyahs just like all surrounding you as you two just like stare at each other.
You can't punch it. I tried punching it. You can't.
Yeah, I also tried. I tried punching it. It didn't.
You want to see a hologram? It was
What?
a hologram. And takes out like the package and just like tries to do the thing to like get it to play again. And also like takes out the pink camera so that they can both watch it.
Amazing. Yeah. Aaliyah, like, first of all, it just seems like taken aback, but then when she realizes what's happening, she just sort of like watches with rapt attention. And then she looks at you and she says, thank you. I didn't think you were, I mean, it seemed like you didn't. Thank you for showing me that.
Oh no, my teammates don't like you or trust you. They think you're bad and that famous bad. But I know you. And we've had a hard time in the past, but you are being a hero. So if you can help save people.
I would think that people who knew me would trust me less, especially when that person is you. So Halcyonium, there's only one known source of it. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, it's supposed to be almost entirely inert. It's not supposed to have any known scientific causes. Is this why you were at the planetarium? I guess that's why she was at the planetarium.
Seems like it is why she was at the planetarium. We got, I think one of our team got an anonymous tip from somebody that there would be some villain activity at the planetarium.
She points at the Polaroid camera looking thing and says, have you tried using that yet?
Oh, say cheese. Click.
Instead of printing out a picture of your ex, this like starts to print out what looks to be a list of elements. Like it says like hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, just like it's just a list of elements that like, and then percentages it lists next to them. And Aaliyah kind of like looks over your shoulder and is like, wow, that's really cool tech.
If we can get this, if we can snap a pic of another one of the victims, we can confirm presence of halcyon. And if we can confirm we can take a picture and find where a stronger amount of halcyon is, then we can confirm that that's where the villain killer is.
Yeah, we can. And she just sort of, the last panel of this scene is Aaliyah just giving you like a super genuine smile that we haven't seen her wear like this whole time. And then we're gonna cut over to Raina. So Raina, you have sort of like gotten pushed back. And you are, you've got all these things surrounding you. What is your approach to finding yourself in this situation?
The first thing I do is respond to the group chat saying, everybody, when you get out, just leave. We'll convene elsewhere. I don't want them to stay here inside once we figure a way out. Other than that, I kind of just stare at this stupid cursed bracelet. And I also look at my phone to see, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to meet him yet. It's too soon. But I think they will just try to feel their way towards an exit.
Okay, cool. Great. So while you're trying to feel your way towards an exit, you end up in kind of like a, you feel yourself kind of like sloping downward. You end up into an area of the building that you're pretty sure you haven't been in before. You're sort of like feeling around it. And then a voice kind of like, that sounds like it's in this room with you, but you don't see anyone, says, oh, hello, is that somebody, and you recognize this as the voice of Adon.
Mierda, ¿por qué aquí? Um, fuck it. Hello? Anybody else out here?
Oh, hi. Yeah, sorry, I can't. And you hear like a thud of something against. I was like, oh no, that's not a path. That was another mirror. Oh God, this was a mistake.
Yes, it was. I'll go towards their voice slowly just in case I run into any other mirrors.
And the voice says back like, so sorry, were you in here already?
Yeah, you see, we learned how to take off the alarm
Oh,
before
right.
you all
That's
tripped it.
probably smart. So are you raiding this place too? I was telling the booze that it was like nothing was gonna still be here.
I mean, there's thinking about like the glowing orb. There's stuff here. Um, but
Ah, nice.
still, villain house, villain traps.
Yeah,
Usually
I
smarter
no.
than this.
Sorry. Wait, do I know you?
Um, no, no, of
Oh,
course not. I've
oh.
never, I've never heard of El Soldado. Of course, I don't know you.
Well, how do you know that's what I'm called?
Your boss said it. You need to come up
Oh,
with other names when you're like infiltrating other villain spots.
hey,
Kind of come.
that's actually a pretty good tip. Oh, so you're a villain too?
Uh, no comment.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, honestly, this is a job I'm taking just like, I don't know. I thought I'd get some quick cash. This freaking guy I'm with, he calls himself the Bamboozler. What's that?
You're
Uh,
still with the bamboozler? Oh my god!
you know
Uh,
him? He's ridiculous. He doesn't even have powers. He just can do sleight of hand kind of well.
no wonder he wants to be here. There's so much magic illusion shit here.
No, that's what he was thinking, and I'm like, dude, this was Myopius's place. Like, you're not gonna find shit that you can use. Sorry, I probably shouldn't be so loud because if he hears him, he might kill me. I don't know. He does have one of those boxes that you like saw someone in half, but it's like I don't think he actually knows how to use it.
Exactly, and I'm sure you can do circles around him. You always do.
It's weird because you're talking to me like you know me. I don't know, but you kind of seem cool, I guess. Where and then you could hear like just this voice is now coming from like just around the corner. And you could hear Adon say like, "Where are you?" But then something shifts in a wall, and then you hear like oh shit, and then like a chamber just sort of like racks downward. And you can like hear that like something is thunked into a different place in the building. And you can hear him kind of call up from uh below your feet, basically like under the floor. And he's like, ah shit. Well, I think I ended up in the basement. But it was nice talking to you.
Do you need help?
No, I'm pretty sure this is and you could see that or you could hear like a cranking noise, and he's like, no, I think I can get out this way. Hey, I didn't catch your name.
That's right, you didn't.
Oh, okay. All right. You're like the mysterious type. I get it.
Yeah, I'm the mysterious type, just like you are supposed to be.
Sorry. I guess I usually am a little bit more of the strong and silent type, but I don't know. I something about you brings out something different in me, I guess. And also, this is a pretty stupid situation I found myself in.
It kind of is, and they kind of like look towards the like nearest like mirror wall and just start like fixing their hair a bit, you know, like just
Love it.
subconscious, like fuck it. And they're gonna try to use their constructs and telekinesis to make a direct line to them.
Okay, great. Why don't you roll to unleash your powers?
Gotta find the tab with my information. That is an 8.
Okay. So basically, I'm not gonna have you mark a condition. But I am gonna tell you that this effect is gonna be unstable or temporary. So basically, you kind of like you're really like using a lot of energy because you're kind of like burning all, you're like creating an opening in like an iron floor to like make this direct line, right? And you can do it. But it's kind of just like you basically like wedged your construct into a piece of the floor and then just like expanded it out, right? And you get the like single for just a moment, like the electric glance passes between you and El Soldado, who like looks up directly at you and just says, "Hey."
Hola.
And then this construct collapses and is on itself. That's where we're gonna end that scene. That's where we're gonna end that scene. And let's quickly check in with Alice Witch. So Alice, or so Witch, what's your approach when you find yourself kind of like stuck like this?
Okay, so that was a lot to take in.
A lot going on.
Firstly, having heard before this happened, it's just in and out, kind of triggered a bad memory because last time someone had said that, it did not go well. So like a flashback of like two-eyed ginger hair, which just talking to like himbo boy, going, it's just in and out, and her going, okay, and then like bad after that. Alice is going to go onto her phone, see the messages, and go, y'all know, um, y'all know Stacy's phone is broken, right? And then send that. And just, I guess, just wander around to try and find anyone else because she's a little nervous about being alone in this situation.
Yeah. Alice, after a little bit of wandering around, you end up finding pretty quickly an exit. Like you end up you aren't really trying to find like a particular path, but you end up like in the area where that like water-based entrance was. So you find like an opening where you could easily just like drop into the water. And you can see that there are some, you would have to get into the water first and then climb up into them, but there's a couple boats, like small boats that are just kind of like ringing the exit if you wanted to try to get into one or use one.
Her first reaction is to like turn away and go, oh, thank God I hate mirrors. Can I possibly leave like smoke trails for everyone? Is that even possible? Like,
ooh, I love that idea. Yes, I think that's a good use of your powers of just sort of like, you know, sending back some of your smoke and just kind of letting it permeate through this labyrinth that you've ended inside. Absolutely.
yeah, I'll do that and then I'll just wait in the boat.
Okay, cool. So that's perfect. I think that we'll leave Alice there sort of waiting in the boat, and maybe some of you end up rejoining with Witch. Maybe you find your own way out, but we're going to leave Myopius's lair behind with the understanding that all of you do end up getting out eventually. Maybe you don't have a chance to like fully regroup before you do, but you make your way out. It's different now, though. It's definitely different for a lot of you. So moving on to the next scene. Lee, you are at home in your apartment. It's the next morning, after all of this. And there's a knock at the door.
They are definitely they kind of wait for see if whoever it is will go away, because very few people have had the need to visit their apartment, and it could be the religious people or the voting canvassers or X, Y, and Z.
And yeah, so you wait, and then you hear a knock again and says, it's me, it's Uncle Leif. Come on, let me in.
And they do so.
Hey, kid. Sorry, I know you probably weren't expecting to see me again so soon.
Yeah. What is it?
So your uncle like definitely has the demeanor of someone who is like distant. First of all, what does Lee's apartment look like? Like, how is it decorated?
I'd say it's eclectic. It looks like they've probably sourced a lot of their furniture from thrift stores or from like the side of the curb. Originally, this was probably like a very nice-ish apartment, furnished like very modern, kind like not necessarily clinical, but very vacant feeling, no personality. But they've relocated like a lot of that furniture back to the curb where they found some of this other stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks a little cluttered. There's definitely like just pieces of stuff laying around, different technologies, different hobbies they've picked up to try on. A lot of clothes just kind of like scattered about.
Yeah. Yeah, so your Uncle Leif definitely has the attitude of like older male relative in like young queer relatives apartment of just like, I don't know where to sit down. Like, I don't like, what is this? Is that, I won't touch that. Okay, just sort of like very kind of uncomfortable and fidgety. And they say, so I know we had a conversation recently about laying low, and I just I came because I'm gonna have to, you're gonna have to lay low again. Specifically, you'll see it in the news, but in the next couple of days the family's coming out to Halcyon City. So obviously when we're here, it would be not so great if you were, out and about and drawing headlines or anything like that.
I'm not purposefully drawing headlines, Uncle Leif. And
I know.
It's not like anyone is really going to trace me back to the family.
Right.
I'm taking a lot of care for that.
Maybe just stay away from downtown, the FIDI financial district. Just maybe just keep it out of your rotation. Because here's the other thing, kid. It's the mayor called, and with everything going on, it's decided it'd be good for morale to do a little dedication ceremony for a memorial for darling girl.
I will do my best to stay out of that whole fucking thing. Trust me, there's nothing there for me anymore. And I think you need to leave right now.
I will. And he sort of like awkwardly gathers up his stuff, opens the door, and like in an effort to kind of like be normal in like a very small talky tone, he says, crazy news about middleman, that hero, right? And it's right after Myopius died too. It's a shame.
What?
Oh, you didn't hear. That's actually it's kind of why they asked the family to come, sort of like another face of the city caliber hero, because and Uncle Leaf opens up his phone and kind of like pulls stuff up and pulls up a headline and shows it to you. And this is the last panel. It says, beloved Halcyon hero middleman found deceased, as the headline. And there's a photo. The photo is taken from a news article. It's a covered figure being like wheeled away on a gurney. They're entirely covered except for there's only one part of him visible, his wrist dangling off the side. And it's very faint, but you can see right in the middle of that wrist is a small diamond-shaped bruise. That is where we're going to leave off for the night. Wow. All right. Lots happened. A lot of emotions. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. And please make sure to tune back in next time to see whatever's going on with that. The hero,
right.
middleman, apparently dead. Anita, why don't you start off our outro by telling our lovely viewers about you, where they can find you, everything like that.
Anita, that's me. Hey, everybody. I'm Anita. I make stories about gay people. You can find me at Anita the Lesbian on the Twitter, on the TikTok. You can also catch me at the Infinity City podcast with Allie. I play a soldier there. That soldier is also dealing with moral stuff. So if you want to see more of my gays flounder, check out Infinity City podcast. And I also have a account on startplaying.games. Recently my mask campaign just filled up. So you can't get on that anymore. But maybe there'll be another campaign that you can get on by the time this airs. Only one way to find out, and that's by looking up my startplaying.games and playing a game like Masks with me. That's me. I'll take it to our fearless leader, Mateo.
I was muted. Hello, I'm Mateo. You might also know me as the Milk Boy. You can find me. I don't have Twitter anymore. I did delete it, but I am on Blue Sky now. You can find me anywhere on social media at Certified Milk Boy, certified with a Y. My itch.io page where I make TTRPG. There's only one right now, but there will be more. That's Certified Milk Boy Games. And yeah, that's all I'm doing other than this. So I will pass it to Alice.
Hey guys, I am Alice. She, they pronouns. You can find me everywhere online at Hellion Heart or Alice Heart. That's probably going to be the best places to find out what I'm doing currently, because again, depending on when this airs, who knows where I will be. I try to be a little bit of everywhere. The most reliable place you can find me is on the podcast I help produce, edit, and play on. It's an actual Play Monster of the Week podcast called Welcome to Reddington. Depending on when you're watching this, either the episode aired last week or this coming week, but either way, we have plenty for you to catch up on. And plenty I will probably be in. And then I'm going to turn it over to Diana.
Hello, everybody. I am Diana Moon. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter and Blue Sky at Diana Moon, or Twitch and YouTube at X Diana Moon X. You can also find me every Sunday on Nergasm Noir Twitch channel with the Reclaimers. We're an all POC tabletop RPG. Not sure what we're playing when this is airs, but we're probably playing something and we're having a lot of fun with it. And I think, yeah, you might find me some other places. I'm slowly going everywhere, but yeah, and back to our lovely GM.
All right. I have been Allie. I have been your game master for today. You can find me at Allie_Yakta_est on most social media. I am the director of production and creative at a video game startup, so I talk about that theoretically sometimes if you're interested. You can also find me alongside Anita on Elliot Andrews Productions Masks podcast Infinity City. I play One Up, a Janice, and it's very, very fun. Thanks again for joining us. Want to give a couple reminders. One, the creator app for GRTW is always open. If you've got a story you want to tell, please submit to the creator app, submit your ideas. GRTW wants to help you get it off the ground. You can find it in pinned tweets. You can find links. It's everywhere. You can find it. And then also, if you want to ensure that women and femme-centric content like this continues to get made and that people get fairly paid for it, you can throw a follow to GRTW on Twitch, on Twitter/X or / whatever it's called now. Throw your Twitch subscription. If you've got a free Prime subscription, throw that at the Twitch as well. Or there's a Ko-fi account. You can drop a couple bucks in there. All goes to the amazing cast, the incredible team that is building GRTW and making it such an amazing place. Last, check out girlsruntheseworlds.com for merch. And there's a fantastic collection of zines you can find there from Girls Write These Worlds. If you need content for your TTRPGs, if you just want to look at some really cool stuff, it's all in those zines, and you should absolutely check it out. With that, we're going to sign off for the night. We will see you next time on Freezerburnt. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.